Hello, my name's Osaigi Precious Uriga. I'm a student of Fed Uni. This is the group assignment for managing people at work, and we'll be talking about emotional labor. So first of all, we have to give a definition for the topic. What's emotional labor? According to Wathen, the process of how employees are managing their feelings and accordingly with the organization's rules and regulations. It involves handling the outward emotion to conform to be professional or social expectations. So according to Lazzini, it refers to whatever feelings the workers have to show for the organizational attitude, customers, and profession. This has to do with emotions in organizations, and so next I'll be talking about the types of emotions. We have 5 types of emotional labors. 5 main emotional labors are stated by Gabriel, Daniels, and Gregorius, and Defudov. There are low actors, deep actors, non-actors, surface actors, and regulators. So, talking about on a regular basis lead to high levels of stress and even a disconnection from close personal relationships. However, other studies have not found a connection between emotional conflict and emotional exhaustions. The major 2 type of emotional labors are the surface acting and deep acting, which I will brief on and explain. The surface acting, you fake or pretend to have an emotion by using natural, artificial body language and verbal communication. Smiling and using a soft tone or voice help you show emotions that you don't feel or hide emotions that you do feel. Deep acting, you control your internal emotions, directing them to believe that you are actually happy and enjoying the interaction from other people. Rather than feel like you're pretending, you convince yourself you're not experiencing a negative reaction. When you continually need to show only these emotions or those emotions that are appropriate for the job, despite how you really feel, this can often lead to emotional conflict between your real emotions and those you show to others. Some researchers believe that emotional conflict like this leads to emotional exhaustions for workers, and that hiding your emotion on a regular basis lead to high levels of stress.
Good morning, madam. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, class. My name is Obede Douglas. I'm here to present about emotional labor, and I will continue from where my friend stopped. My other colleague will continue. We finish the up. So I'm here to explain about how does emotional affect employees. When we discover that the emotional of employee can turn into positive and negative impact. In another way, the impact will be expressed through the way employees link and act, the way they respond to challenge, and how they function under a tough pressure. In another way, an emotion of an employee could affect moral and would lead to a more toxic or more productive working environment according to effective event theory. Emotion will guide employees' behavior according to Kivas 2017. In other way, for examples, anger will lead to aggression toward colleagues, and it will affect the mood and emotion of the employees and other staffs. So, we're going to talk control emotion. According to appreciate, God bless you.
Good day, lecturers, viewers present. My name is Adele Robert Abidemi. I will be continuing from where my colleague has just stopped, which is on control emotion. But now I'll be speaking on the theoretical framework of the antecedents and consequences of emotional labor. But before I proceed, let me quickly bring us to the table. Here, as you can see, we have in the first antecedent process, or the precursor, if not the predecessor stage, we have the affectivity and the empathy. Then after that, in the process of managing feelings and expression to fulfill emotional requirements, in the next stage we have the social support, then we have the job autonomy. So after that, we have the emotional exhaustion or job satisfaction. So before I proceed, let me quickly buttress on the affectivity. So the ability to experience the effects such as feelings, emotion, judgment, and motivations. These are the affectivity. So at the same time, the kinds of affectivity evoked in us, such as fear and gratitude, also depend partly on how we envision and interpret the objects in question. So furthermore, I want us to know that this affectivity is divided into two. We have the negative and we have the positive affectivity. So the positive affectivity, it reflects the stable individual difference in positive emotional experience. Why the negative affectivity is a personality variables that actually involves the experience of negative emotions, poor concepts, the negative activities. It subsumes that varieties of those negative emotions, including anger, content, disgust, guilt, and fear, and also nervousness. So furthermore, we will see that this generates, or the process goes next to emotional labor. Under this emotional labor, we come to understand that when employees regulate or suppress their emotions in exchange for wages, they are considered to be performing emotional labor. So that is this where the affectivity and empathy arrives. So when this is gotten, it generates into either social support or job autonomy. And in this stage, we see it as the moderator stage, that is between the social support and the job autonomy stage. So for the social support, it's the perception and actuality that one is cared for. When one is actually cared for, when one has an assistance available. At the same time, when other people, and most popularly that one part of there's a supportive network in among people, or in a workplace. Then the job autonomy we're talking about, there is a degree of freedom and discretion allowed to an employee, over his or her own job. So when an employee has freedom, or when the degree of the employee's freedom, either high or low, either the employee has enough freedom as an employee working in that particular organization, or the employee has no freedom, the degree, as the extent or the rate of such freedom is known as the job autonomy. Then that is the moderator stage. So next in line is the consequences, which we are really talking about here. So in these consequences, we are either having emotional exhaustion or we're having job satisfaction. So at the end of the day, either there's an emotional exhaustion or there's job satisfaction. That is under it, which is the consequences. So the emotional exhaustion, as you can see, is a chronic state of physical emotional depletion that results from excessive job, personal demands, or continuous stress. That's to say, when there is stress, continuous demand, when there is when the employee is not that satisfied, when people experience emotional exhaustion, that is when someone is emotionally drained, on where person, someone is overwhelmed or is going through fatigue. That is the emotional exhaustion. Then for the job satisfaction, that is when there's the satisfaction among employees in a place. When employees are contented, with their job, whether they like the job or individual aspects, if they don't like the job that much, that the aspects or the facet of the job which shows that the nature of the work or supervision they do there, they are satisfactory with it. That is job satisfaction. So upon this, we have been able to explain the theoretical framework. So next in line, we'll be talking about the emotional labor, that it can be positive. So according to Humphrey and Ashford and also Diffendorf in 2015, they said emotional labor has a positive impact on employees. Emotional labor has positive impact. That's to say, it contributes positively on employees. Then Humphrey, Ashford, and also Diffendorf also stated again in that same year, 2015, that deep acting do not harm employees' well-being. That's employees that are deeply working or acting in his job or actively working in doing a job, particular job, do not feel harmed or being drained doing that job. For example, service sectors workers, them, then health service personnel. Health service personnel, they are close to the patients, at the same time close to the senior subordinates. In that case, they don't leave them aside. They are contributors of the particular institution or organization where they work. So they get deeply acting in that job. So with that, they do not feel bad or they do not feel harm doing the particular job. So more again, I want us to understand that in my conclusion, I want us to understand that its dimensions such as surface acting, genuine emotions, and deep acting that workers show to customers may influence the overall, such as their services, performance, and organization. What we are saying here in essence is that working actively in an organization, deeply acting in an organization, such as surface acting, genuine emotion, using genuine emotion, working with all your heart, deeply acting in it, that workers show to customers may influence the overall, such as their services, performance, and all. If the workers are not actually showing that interest or doing the job with all their hearts, or they are emotionally imbalanced, or they are feeling emotionally drained, or feeling emotionally sick, therefore it will affect the performance in that organization. But in a situation whereby they work actively, they deeply act to influence the overall performance of the organization, it positively affects the organization. Secondly, according to Susan in 2002, she states that the people who perform emotional labor that deserve public respect. Good, which is to say, emotional labor must be motivated, by the employers to the work to the employees, because the people who actually perform this emotional labor, they deserve public respect, because this emotional labor, it has to take through process of managing feelings and expression to fulfill the emotional requirement of a job. Workers are expected to regulate their emotions during interactions with customers, co-workers, and superior. So when this is done, it's actually very, very contributory, to performance on emotional labor in a public place. So the consequence of emotional labor may be either positive or negative. So it depends on how employees are performing it. Thank you.